there. So I have hacked into Get Pro with EHP today. You are not getting Raju sir today. No, just kidding. Hi Raju sir.
Hey, hi Avesh. How are
Hey, I'm
you?
great sir. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
For a minute there, I was gonna hack Get Pro with EHP because the kind of content you guys are putting out is insane. I would really want. When I saw first episode and then throughout the last few episodes, I was like, I want to be a part of this. Let me please message Raju sir. Please make me a part of this conversation anyway. Just make me like a cameo. Give me like a cameo in this. I would be fine with this.
Well, I'm honored that you've actually thought it is worthwhile, and I hope your message, what you just said, it gets passed on to tons of people because they're most welcome to come and hack into Get Pro with ESP. Because the whole purpose of it is to hope that people will learn something from it and grow and develop. So it's actually out there to help people. As you know,
Definitely.
we don't charge anything for this. It's really just for people to learn from it. That's all.
Definitely, sir, definitely. And I think it's a great initiative that you've started this. I remember in my early days, there was no guide. There was nobody to, actually tell you, okay, this is what you need to do. You were just thrown out of your college and then you're like, okay, now work. This is what you're supposed to do. And
Yes.
whatever industry it is, hospitality, service industries, and all of that. But
Yeah.
then you are not given a guide. You don't have a roadmap in order to, you
Yeah.
have obviously everyone does have their aspirations, goals in mind. But then how to reach them?
Yeah.
How do you find a
Yeah.
roadmap? So I
Yeah.
think this is a great initiative that you are doing, and I have all the respect for because the kind of experience also sir, that you come with. It's
Thank
great.
you.
It's great that you're doing this.
Thank you. It's true what you said. People usually have always traditionally been based on trial and error. So you
Right.
try, fail, you try, you get hurt, and then you stand up and you try again. So whenever there is a mentor or a guide, or even if you hear advice from a third party, as long as
Right.
you're able to apply it in your life, it becomes very useful advice anyway. So that's what we're hoping that any of the advice we give, I know it's not going to be 100% for everyone, but if you
Right.
can take even one or two good ideas and make them work for you, fantastic. That's excellent. So,
Great. Great. Great.
how do we do this today? I understand you have a bunch of questions that you wanted to ask me.
Yes, so when I spoke to your team also, they told me you can ask anything you want. Whatever
Yes.
questions you have in mind, Raju would be very happy to answer all of them. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, now this is my time. This is where I get to shine. This is where I get to, get the
Yeah.
insights of EHP and Raju sir as well. So I have framed a few questions here and there, but then
Sure.
obviously they are all just relevant to EHP, they're all just relevant to you, but you are I would love if you would share your personal experience also to the table, and it would be great that way.
No
Yeah.
problem. No, I mean, obviously, nobody has all the answers in the world, but I can always share
So
with
you
you.
do, sir.
No,
Let's
well,
not be modest here.
no, I
I have
think
seen
I will
10
be.
episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
I have seen 10 episodes, and none of them, ever there was a chance where you go like, oh, let me think about this and get back to you. No, I don't remember you taking a second to reply. It's everything
Well,
I think is inbuilt there.
I think 32 years of experience of dealing with so many different types of people from different parts of the world, it just
Right,
helps you to accumulate all that knowledge and experiences, and so I don't want people to feel that I'm out here trying to show myself as, oh, he knows all the answers. Nah, nobody knows all the
right.
answers, but we have our
No,
own sharing.
one more thing, sir. I wanted to add to this because I've seen all the podcasts. I've been a part of the podcast. I've seen that none of things that you say are preachy.
Yeah.
They all sound suggestive and they all sound like an advisory. They're
Yeah.
not preachy at all. You're not
No.
telling anybody to become a righteous self and do this and do that. You leave the choice completely on the individuals, and that is so true to the whole scenario of things.
It has
That
to. It
people
has to
make their
come
own
from the
choices.
heart.
It's just
Yeah.
definitely, so definitely
Yes.
come
Yes.
from the heart and from the brain. I feel
Yes. 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 That's very true.
amalgamation of both.
True. Very true. And unless the person listening really feels it is something that touches them, they're not going to
Right.
use that advice anyway. So there's no point me trying to push my thoughts across. But you can always give it as options and say, well, here's two things you can try. And then you
Right.
decide which one works for you the best, and you can try that out.
Right, definitely. Great. Some of your case studies, or I would say the scenarios that had your experiences through, are so relevant and so relatable. Even somebody like me who's not from an hospitality industry or who's not from a service-based industry would listen to it and would go like, yeah, but this might have happened. It sounds actually true. The customer service guy must have done this.
Yeah.
So all of them are very relatable. And
Thank you.
today I am planning to get as much as I can, all the past experiences, all the past stories, success story, failure story, and all of that,
No
everything. I would
problem.
want everything on the table today, sir.
No problem. Shoot away. Go ahead.
Right. So the questions that I've framed for you, they are in a flow, right?
Okay.
So first question that I want to begin with is the most cliched one. I feel you must have answered this and heard this question being asked to you a lot of times, but still, I would want since on the podcast I've seen very rarely you mentioning about this thing. So I want to know, how did you conceive the idea of creating EHP? And what was the inspiration behind it? So,
Um, okay. Very simply put, I was, in a sense, very lucky because I used to work for two training organizations, international training organizations. One of them was about to close down in Hong Kong, where I'm based, and that
okay.
a world famous company called Dale Carnegie, How to Win
Hmm.
and Influence People. They were closing their branch in Hong Kong for a while because the sponsor or the franchisee was retiring. So I would have continued to work there, but my boss at that time came to me and he said, "You know the programs, you know the clients, you know the industry. Why are you still working for people? Why don't
Right.
you open your own?" And I thought, okay, that sounds, and it's coming from us, so
Right.
you cannot get a bigger boost than that. So that's
Definitely.
I thought about the idea, and I thought, okay, I know the clients, and if I started on my own, I do have the flexibility and freedom because I don't necessarily have to follow rules and regulations of the existing company. I can base it on what my customer truly needs, and based on that, I can tailor accordingly. So I have
Right.
more flexibility. And then I sat down with my daughter, Natasha Moore, Cosmetics. She is
Definitely, sir.
one
Yes.
of the most creative persons I know.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
we sat down and we talked about what name should we come up with. So we brainstormed a bunch of times and then came up with what is the true purpose of what I'm doing. And the true purpose is we are trying to enhance the potential of people. So that's why
Right.
enhancing human
Human
potential
potential.
kind of fit in perfectly. And that is my inspiration. That is my drive. That is my destination. That is my goal.
So my biggest takeaway from this is your boss still hiring people? Can I apply for the job?
Well, he has
Because my
retired.
boss would call me at 12 a.m. in the night and ask me to submit a file next day. They will
Yeah,
not give me a boost. And it is so important to have such healthy relationships with your bosses, sir.
yeah,
Don't you
yeah.
agree?
It is. Well, let me not mislead you. When my
Hmm.
boss was my boss, he was
Right,
also demanding. He also wanted stuff done at the right time in the right manner. But
right,
because he was retiring and he just thought, you have the potential to grow yourself. Why would you still want to work for someone? when you can actually, you have the capability to go out and open up your own business and do the same kind of things that we're doing already. So I
Right.
think that way his confidence in me and his support was very useful. And we all need bosses like that, obviously, who will
Oh,
support.
please. God bless us all, please.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Uh, right. So this is how the idea was conceived. You brainstormed with Natasha ma'am, and then you guys came up with enhancing human potential. Finally, right?
Yes, yes.
Now you've started this. You've started this. Now, what were? Can you share some biggest challenges that you faced in your early days while establishing EHP, and
Sure.
how did you overcome them, sir?
Well, you have to understand that I was working for two multinational, international training organizations, who are well known in the market. And then
Right.
I'm opening up a new company called Enhancing Human Potential, which no one knows. The
Right.
big advantage I had was the fact that people did know Raju. They didn't know
Correct.
Enhancing Potential. So at least that helped me get indoors. Now,
Hmm.
because of the overall relationships that I had built in the past, they were willing to take a try to say, okay, we won't use Dale Carnegie, let's try and use you. Now, I did not go after Dale Carnegie clients. I just went
Right.
after people that I knew. And, in the industry, human resources industry, people move around a lot. So if they were working as a learning and development manager for company A, and now they're working in company B, they were happy
Hmm.
to say, hey, Raju, why don't you come in? Let's talk. And then you can. And they also knew that because I was starting up, my pricing is going to be a lot more reasonable than some of the
Correct.
international companies. And
Correct.
that's how we got started. That was one of my biggest challenges because it's trying to get the foot in the door, and at the
Right.
same time, it is also about building that or building on the existing relationship. So that was the challenge. The strength was that I knew my stuff. I had been
Hmm.
doing it already for 15 years, so I was fine with that. Uh, the content, the materials, the programs, that was not a big challenge. The challenge was finding those new doors. That's all.
Great. So, and now in how many countries? The last time we discussed?
Wow. I have over the last 15, 20 years, I've done training in all of Southeast Asia. I have done it in Australia, in India, in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka, in Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, Malaysia, USA, and UK.
Safe to say about 30 plus countries then, sir.
I would
About
imagine.
25 to
Yes.
40% of the world, that is.
Yeah. It's just that I would have loved to have a solid base in those countries so that it can be a continuous process.
Right.
But over the last 15, 20 years, yes, I have definitely done training in all those places. And most recently, we are in the Caribbean islands.
Hmm. Right.
So Saint
We've been
Martin.
seeing that through your Instagram. Yes.
Yes, Saint Martin was the recent one because the Saint Martin Hospitality and Trade Association, they called us and they said, we need training for our hospitality industry and our retail industry because they rely on tourism. And that's where
Right.
so
Right. Right. Right.
just got in our foot in there and hopefully we're going to stay there for a while.
So, sir, is it safe to say that if you want to, come down to a niche, is tourism a great place there? Like to give your services?
Um, It is, but you have to remember it's a third world country, which means
Right.
if I have to maintain a profit and loss balance, I need to
Right.
ensure that I'm not only in one country because that's where the challenge comes in, right? In order for you to sustain
Right.
a certain quality of trainers and programs, you need to make sure that
Mhm.
you're in all kinds of places. So the US and the casinos in Macau or the casinos in Philippines, they help out in balancing off. If I'm doing
Right.
training in India, I have to try and match as much as possible to the conditions of the Indian market in terms of pricing. We
Right.
don't necessarily go down to the local level, but we're somewhere in between, the medium level. Uh,
Right.
Places like Saint Martin, obviously, we need to start ground up. Because it's a third world country, they want to start developing.
Then, sir, since as you mentioned that you can't go to the locals, or you have to have that boundary there. But is that one of the reasons why this YouTube podcast came up with, so
Well,
that you could reach everyone, people in the world needs this.
yes, that is one of the true reasons, because um, I want to share skills and knowledge with people.
Right.
I'm not necessarily always looking for a payment for it, but if I can help two people in the street who learned a little bit about the relationships, and they will, work better with their colleagues, or they work better with their wife or their husband, their spouses, uh,
Right.
that to me is already a big win, because somebody gained from it, learned from it, and used it, that sort of thing.
Definitely, so definitely. We've all known EHP is famous for its interactive and engaging training things, right? The training approach that you guys think are very interactive and very engaging.
Yep.
So, is there a memorable success story, or a scenario that you could share with us, which was very significant in order to make a difference in the industry?
Um, Definitely, yes. There's been a bunch of them, but I'll give you an example of a common one that happens quite regularly. I
Okay.
have someone who stopped me in the street and said,
Mhm.
"You are Raju, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "My name is Victor," and I said, "Okay." He said,
Just a
"You don't."
random guy.
Yeah, he said, "You don't remember me. I attended your sales program 18 years ago." And I thought,
Oh my God.
wow,
18
18
years
years
ago.
ago. He said, "Now I am the director of sales regional for Asia Pacific. Are you still in the training business? Yeah. Can I ask you to come and meet me, because I want you to train my salespeople?" So I'm
Oh,
going,
nice.
nothing more memorable than that. When a participant, has grown in life, and he comes back and he says, "Now I want you to train." It's like saying, "I want you to come and train my children now." And I'm going like, wow, that is amazing. And that's happened on a number of occasions. So it's
I'm
amazing.
sure, sir. I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. Um, Coming to your future plans now,
Yeah.
what I spoke to your team also about is that you guys are, going full-fledged in the Indian markets also now. So how
Yes.
do you see that? How do you see the future of, of EHP and the in the next decade, basically? How do you see that?
Um, well, as you know, we've started off with this podcast to kickstart enhancing exposure in the Indian
Right.
market. Right. That's
Right.
step one. Ideally, to get into a market, you need to have people on the ground. Now,
Hmm.
as you know from my schedule, I'm running around like a chicken without a head, all over the place, all over the country, delivering training programs. I'm leaving tomorrow, on Saturday. I'm off to Dubai, because I'm going to be doing training for 12 days in Dubai. I
Oh
come to
my.
Hong Kong for one day, then I'm off to Vietnam for a 3-day program there. So for me to physically be present in India is a challenge. That is the problem.
Right. Right.
So we have tied up with one or two what we call business development executives or business development managers. So we are
Right.
hoping
Right. Right.
that they will reach out to corporates, big companies in India. Well, I
Right.
not necessarily only big companies, medium to big companies. Uh,
Right.
they have to find companies that truly value their most important asset, which is their people. If
Right.
people are willing to invest in their people, then we can be one of the solutions for them. But if companies are not interested in training their people or growing their people, then there's not a lot we can do. But I know from what I see of the Indian market, people are literally going up, in leaps and bounds. So
Right.
if that's the case, then we do have a right market. We just need to have the right people on the ground reaching out to the right people in the corporates.
No, definitely. India is a huge market, especially
Huge.
after COVID, the lockdown and all of that. It has
Yes,
become a huge market in order to, give services or to give that hospitality approach towards each
exactly.
a small application like, something that you order from or something where you book a cab and all of
Yep.
that. But everything is so precise and
Yep.
everything is so meticulously designed that
Yep.
you cannot fault at service. You cannot
Yep.
fault at hospitality. I
Yep.
mean, that is the least expected thing out of an individual, that this is something that they might not be,
Yeah.
will not hurt
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
any form, right?
That's
So it
true.
is very important, definitely. And
If,
please go on.
no, if you think,
I have one thing that I will say.
yeah, if you think about it, the Indian market, one of the things that I've always, obviously, I'm Indian, so I have to admire everything about India. But one of the things that stands out is if you look at hotels around the globe,
Hmm.
you go to the States, their hotels, US, their hotels are nothing great.
Right.
But when you come to India, every hotel is like a palace.
Oh
So
yeah.
So the infrastructure is amazing. It's
The
beautiful.
regard for tourism is huge in India.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at the place, the infrastructure, the buildings are fantastic. Now, if you have a building that's fantastic and then I get service that's mediocre, then all of
Right.
a sudden I'm like, India is not that great. Yeah. And you don't want that. So how do they kind of match it up? Of course, a lot of the big organizations, the Marriotts and all the Shangri-Las and all, they're stepping up all the time. But there's a
Right.
lot of smaller chains that could use our help. And we're
Definitely.
looking out for some of those, to see how we can help them.
Definitely. So when am I going to see you in India, sir?
Well, I have been thinking about targeting around October, November, but as I keep planning,
Mhm.
other things come in the way. Like for example, last time I thought about September. Now all of a
Mhm.
sudden we signed a contract with a casino resort hotel in Manila. So which means I'm going to be tied up in Manila for about 3 weeks. So
Oh,
now I have to postpone my India thing to October, November, right? And that keeps happening because I do have the one advantage I have is I have clients that call me. Rather than me having to go and look for new clients all the time, a lot of clients
right.
call because the referral rate is quite high. That's very helpful.
Right.
Unfortunately, in India, I don't have that luxury. Otherwise, I would love to go there and stay a month or two and just, keep delivering training programs all over the place.
No, I think, but since you've started this now, this is something that is in your calendar. It is in your, in your mind to go after. I think this is a great stepping foot for you, sir. And
Yes,
India is waiting for someone like you. I
I
cannot
I would
emphasize
love
this
to.
more.
I would love to. I mean, जैसे कहते हैं ना, फिर भी दिल है हिंदुस्तानी, So even though I was born in Lucknow, I've lived in
Right.
Hong Kong almost 59 years. So I've
Oh,
lived in Hong Kong all my life. But
right.
फिर भी हिंदुस्तानी तो हिंदुस्तानी है ना. So we're still Indians. I mean, no matter what. So
Right.
that's beauty. And I really would love to plant my roots there further in terms of my business integration as well.
Definitely. Definitely. फिर भी दिल है हिंदुस्तानी से. So my next question is, who's your favorite actor, sir?
Need I
No,
say?
no, I'm
वही
just
वाला
kidding.
है ना, वही वाला है ना, शाहरुख खान sir. As an actor, yeah, I think he's got amazing charisma, and he attracts so many people. I used to love Amitabh Bachchan, and I still do. It's not that I don't.
Right,
Amitabh Bachchan has his own charisma in a dignified manner in another aspect, and Shah Rukh Khan is the general pull of the people right now. So
right.
they're both kind of
The
head to head.
conundrum of the century.
Yes, yes. दोनों दोनों बादशाह है ना दोनों.
Uh, Right, right, right. Coming back to you, now we know how you started EHP, what kind of approach we do in our training programs, what are our future plans. So it's, I think, fairly easy to say you are an expert, sir. You are an expert in this industry, right? Uh, well, I let me put it that way, please. You are an expert in the industry, right? Now, let's go back. Let's go back and imagine you in that boss's place,
Yeah.
and a young Raju is standing there. Now, being the expert advice, the kind of knowledge, the kind of experience that you have since all these years, what is that, advice that you would give to an aspiring entrepreneur, who are looking to make a meaningful impact in the industry, sir?
I think the biggest skill that people can develop,
Hmm.
which is the most common skill that people already have, unfortunately, they're not using them well, is our ability to package what we say and listening. Now,
Right,
I'll give you two examples
right.
of that. Most people, they listen just to reply, which means I will hear one sentence from you and I will already say, ha ha ha. Okay, so you know what you do this, you do that. You haven't even given the chance to tell you his real issues because they may
The
not be
moment,
good at communicating, you know? Yeah,
right, the
something to
moment you said that, I could see myself doing that to others. I mean, not even others doing that to me. I could see myself doing that to others.
we all tend to do it over the years. I hope hopefully I have been able to control it a lot more, so I tend to force myself to ask one or two more questions, even
Right.
though first time pehle sentence mein I already understood what you said. Just to make sure, I'll say, okay, so you are looking for something like this is the challenge. I will purposely force myself to ask one or two questions just so that I'm clarifying that I really understood your pain point, and then I
Right.
start to answer it. So that makes it help because I'm listening to understand, I'm not
Correct.
listening to lie. That's number one. um, Most people have a tendency of speaking and speaking and speaking, going in circles and then going back and repeating and then repeating and repackaging it. It not only confuses the person who's trying to listen to you, it also confuses your own thought process. So I usually tell people in all my programs, when you're communicating, try and use the KISS principle, which
Yeah.
most people have heard of. It's not new, but you got to
Yeah,
keep
yeah, yeah.
reminding yourself, keep it short and simple. KISS. The more to the point you are, the easier it is for the other person to understand exactly what you're saying. All right.
Right.
और फिर क्या होता है कि भाई there are certain packaging words that we use that are not good. For example, people will say, Avesh, no, I agree with what you're saying, but ये but फिर कहाँ से आ गया? If I agree with what you're saying, but means I don't agree with what you're saying. And these are just habitual words that we tend to have in ourselves. You are right, but if I'm right, there cannot be a but,
No,
right?
but they have a better suggestion to think. They think that they know better, and they are like,
Yeah.
but
Huh?
this is what how it should be,
Yeah. So and that's what happens is it closes down communication because since
Big time,
you're better than me, okay, I won't talk
big
anymore,
time,
right?
big time.
Now there
Yeah.
are many options to this. You can always say, you know what, Avesh, that was a great idea. What if we also considered this? What would you
Hmm.
think? I didn't say you're wrong. I just gave a different option to it.
Like an add-on to the already existing option,
Exactly. Or
not a replacement.
instead of saying, but, I just stop the sentence, I start a new sentence. It's such a simple way of
Right,
doing it. And then
right,
discussion still continues. It doesn't mean you will agree with mine or I'll agree with yours, but at least we're
right,
talking, you know?
right.
Basic principles. And this happens a lot between departments in big companies, you know,
Hmm.
various departments, because every department has their own objective and KPIs. तो हमारा
Right,
ये main thing
definitely.
है, तुम्हारा वो main thing है, and then they keep,
KPIs.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? And you can actually achieve everyone's KPIs if you're collaborating and working together. It's the packaging of words. You don't make people lose face, because the
Right.
moment people lose face, they don't want to talk to you. Finish. Done.
So since you meet, this is just an intrusive thought. You can completely avoid it. So I just wanted to know that since you meet all these co-founders or all these CEOs, founders, who are the decision makers, and then probably after having that conversation, you go and deal with the employees or or the people,
Yeah.
as you say. So whenever you are having this conversation with these founders, like the people who are the decision makers, is it so okay, let's take a scenario where they have gotten a referral of you, right?
Yeah.
Some friend of them or some business partner had already worked with you, and then now they have referred you to them, right?
Right.
And now there is a meeting, right? Now, since you are being referred, so obviously they hold you highly there, right?
Yeah.
But is it still difficult for you to convince them for the kind of training or the kind of approach that you do? Do you take them through the process, at least in the in a summarized way?
Um, okay, to answer your question, it's in parts. First of all, do I need to kind of resell? No, not really, because if it's a referral, if
Right.
50% is sold already, right? Now it's,
Okay.
because they've been referred by their friend, not my friend. It's
Correct.
their.
Correct. Correct.
So
Definitely. So the trust factor is already there.
yeah, half is already there. Now what they want to do is they want to understand, how are you going to make my people grow and learn, right? So we
Right.
do want them true, but the problem is this: if you are a certain type of person who doesn't like too many details, and I give you too
Right.
many details, you will get irritated and you'll say, oh yeah, I didn't want all this, right? So I have to judge what kind of a customer is it. If the decision maker is someone who is a visionary, who only wants to
Right.
know end results, then I just give them end results. If it is the
Right.
financial controller, I need to walk him through the process. If it is a HR person, I need to walk them through the process. At the
Right.
same time, I have to balance with, I can't give away too much, because that's my baby. I cannot just give it away. So I need to balance it off of how much I give, how much I don't give, and what style I use to give them. So that's,
Right.
but also one thing, going back to what you said earlier, we deal
Mhm.
with the decision makers and then we do the training for the people. I make it a point, or at least my company, everyone in my company, we make it a point that we tell the decision maker that, hey, listen, I know this is what you want the people to do. I'm
Right.
still have pre-training interviews with some of them, because I also want to know what they feel. Because you are suggesting, let's use this approach.
Oh.
They might feel, yeah, it's not going to work. So it'll also
Right.
help you understand what your grassroots people are thinking. And then we come
Right.
back to you and say, okay, aapne ye kaha, un logon ne ye kaha, so how do
Right.
we find the balance between those two? And that
And
helps, because then you're connecting both of them as well.
definitely, but like, do the decision makers agree to this
Yeah.
suggestion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the way we position it is, we're just helping them to understand what their grassroots people are feeling. If you're the
Correct.
managing director, you go down to the service people and you say, how's everything going? Nobody's
Right.
going to say, we have this problem, this problem, this problem. But they will tell
Right.
you, sir, sab theek hai. They will not. But coming to a third person, they will say, our products are not that good because this thing happens and we get so many complaints. And they will tell that, because we don't quote them. So I'm not going to
Right.
tell the managing director, by Avesh ne, he told me this. We just say,
Right.
this is the information we gathered from your service team,
Right.
and here is what it is. So they get an idea to get some of those and say, oh, products. Okay, so we should talk to our product people and see how we can make those things work. That way, it helps the whole process.
Great. Great. No. So somebody like me only sees as I told you, I only know that there is this, decision maker. You get referred. And that's how it is. I never knew that you speak to the employees also, get their viewpoints also on this,
Yeah,
which is
we
so important, which is
yeah.
definitely because they have to
Ideally,
go through the training, they have to take the approach. Yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
Ideally, we like to. Of course, you will come across many different scenarios. There will be some managing directors or decision makers that will say, No need, let's just do this because this is what our company needs right now. ठीक है,
Right.
we want to suggest it because we feel it is going to bring bigger value to them. But ultimately, they are the customer. It is their decision. So we have to
Right.
value that as well. So we kind of play around with it as much as possible.
Great, great. My mind is just blowing after every question answer scene that we are just doing.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think we can. How do I say this? I don't want this to end. Is why I'm, I'm just trying to reframe things. कि एक और conversation. Just that. So looking back at your journey, you definitely have achieved so much. You are an author. You are a founder. You are a teacher, which is, I think, above everything else for me. You know. So looking back at your journey, what are you most proud of your career, sir? And again, what are you most proud of? And as young as you are, I would say, what more do you want to accomplish, sir?
Okay. My aim in life is
Right,
when I finally leave this earth, I want people to remember me for having made a difference in their life. That is what I
right.
want. Okay. Uh, what based on whatever I've achieved, if what do I feel about it? I feel that I am making a contribution to people. I am my I guess my best strength is I actually do practice what I teach or what I share, right?
Definitely.
Uh,
Yeah.
because I've seen a lot of trainers or teachers who, they say one thing, but their own life, I don't see them actually doing it. So I actually try to make it a point to actually do the skills that I'm telling other people to use, building relationships. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't made mistakes in life. We're all human. I've messed up in
Right.
life as well. Everyone has. But we do learn from it. And as long as we try and not make the same mistake again and again, we are growing. And I think that's the best anyone can ask for. You make a mistake, that's okay. But learn from it and don't make the same mistake again. That's all.
Which is so important. Which is so
Yes,
important.
that is so
Very
true.
well said, sir. Very well said.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think, do
Building
you do
on
you have anything else to?
Yeah, building on what you said earlier, that you don't want
Hmm.
this to end. Actually, think about it. We've done this now, 25, 30 minutes, whatever it's been. Um,
Right.
uh, Give it a month or so. Absorb what you've heard from me today and whatever
Oh,
thoughts you have.
definitely.
And then maybe
Definitely.
a month or month and a half later, you might say, "Hey, sir, Raju, can I get another podcast with you because I have a new set of questions?" Hey, I'm more than happy. Just let me know if you have
Definitely, I would love that, sir. I would
no
love that.
problem at
I
all.
would love that. You've just like granted my one wish of 2025, the one resolution that I might have. You've just
No problem.
granted that, okay, we'll do this.
That is one thing I end with. I mean, I'm sure you've seen in my podcasts with all the different ones I've said, I've also told them the same thing. Hey, listen, even though the podcast is done for a specific reason, feel free,
Right.
connect with me, whether it's WhatsApp, whether you want to come back and do another podcast. Hey, more than happy to do so, because again, the whole purpose is if I can help the person who's on the podcast with me, that's one beautiful thing. And through that
Right.
person, if I'm going to get to share this knowledge or information with more people, that's a bigger blessing. So I'm absolutely okay with that.
Wow. Okay. Let me take a moment to absorb this. Uh, Phew. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Oh, pleasure.
You have no clue what things you've healed in order to, it is so important because I started working very young. I started working when I was about 18 years old.
Right.
And when I see 18 years old now struggling, I relate to that. I'm like,
Yes.
but it
Yes.
is so important to have a guide like you, sir. Thank you so much for what you do, firstly. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for giving me your time, sir, today.
My
Any
pleasure.
parting
Totally my
thoughts,
pleasure.
sir?
My pleasure. Please let your friends know, share it, let them know if they have questions. all of you can DM me on Instagram. I mean, if you have a specific question, I'm more than happy to.
Definitely. You guys can see his Instagram right here. So yeah, so we will put up an Instagram handle there for you.
Excellent.
And it's amazing what you do on Instagram. It's amazing. The podcast is really good. Also, please say hi to Kubra ma'am when you meet her next.
I will. I will. And see,
Huge crush on her. Huge admirer of her work. I really
okay.
admire her work. Yeah.
She's also been asking me recently. It's like, you said you're coming in August. Kya hua? When are you coming? Because we need to catch up as well. So yeah, I really need to plan my trip to India. I got to
Oh,
catch
you
up
need
with
to,
Cobra as
you
well.
need to, you need to. Please, we
Yeah.
would do a meet and greet very soon whenever you are in India, sir.
Excellent, excellent, wonderful. I will definitely try and put my plan together, make it more solid, so
Please
that
do, sir. Please do.
and get there. Hopefully by October, I should be there. But yeah, definitely, Kubra is definitely one big person I need to meet up with. There's a few others as well. I need to meet. Ashton. Ashton Doctor is another one.
Asian doctor, yeah.
I
The
have to catch
habit
up with
coach.
all of them. Yeah, I have to
Yeah,
catch up
yeah.
with all of them. Definitely. Yes.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. How
Thank
do you
you.
say? How do you say thank you in Chinese or Mandarin?
Goy.
Goy,
Toche. Ngoy or
goy,
Toche. Toche.
goy or
Yeah.
toche.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. All right.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye. Take care.